Nope. The Steelers' newly designed 1933 throwback uniforms were demonstrated today.
I'm going to go ahead and say, Greedy, whenever you say 1933,
bad year.
I'm going to go ahead and say nope.
Yeah.
Everything was nope in 1933. There's nothing dope about 1933. Nope.
Man around
nope, then dope.
Yeah, I bet they was not running no go routes either. a lot of ground and pound in 1933.
They'll wear them week 8 in what will be a very interesting game. They'll be playing the Packers on Sunday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers against the Packers, and any jerseys will be fascinating. Okay, 26 NFL teams report to camp today. So here's what I did. I put together the critical questions. These are not season questions. They're training camp questions, the ones we will have the answers to by September that I think are the most important ones. And here's the first. Will either of the young Browns quarterbacks earn the starting job? I think we all have walked around saying, well, Joe Flacco will be the starter and then blah, blah, blah. They got 2 kids in there. They got Shedeur, everybody knows. They've got Dylan Gabriel. Can one of those 2 guys win that job? That, to me, is a fascinating question in Cleveland.
I would say the chances are no. Young quarterbacks, mid-round pick quarterbacks, typically don't win starting jobs. The last time we had a 3rd-round pick win a starting job was a 4th round. It was Dak Prescott.
Right. So and that was because of injury, right? That was because Romo got hurt.
But he also played exceptionally well during the summer and earned it. If one of these guys can shine during the summer, they'll have a chance. But you'd have to think going in that the veterans, Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett, are the favorites to start opening day. It's up to Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel to learn the system, pick it up as quickly as they can. If they shine that much right away, that would be a little bit of a surprise. It's very rare, but obviously the opportunity would be there for them.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, I think, was a guy who actually came in and played so well that they had to
3rd round
give him the job.
Yeah. And he beat out a free agent they had signed.
Matt Flynn.
So it's happened.
Yeah, it's happened. I mean, I think you'd have to be so exceptional because it seems clear what the plan is. You have to be so exceptional that they say, you know what, forget the plan. And I think that's a lot to ask of any of these players.
Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face, as Mike Tyson famously said. Shedeur Sanders, does he have the ability to punch someone in the face? He came in and all I heard about him, look, I'm not an evaluator. I'm just an accumulator of the evaluations that everybody makes. Everyone told me how ready he was, how well he reads defenses, how fast he processes, all the things that it generally takes young players a long time to do. And the Browns don't fancy themselves a Super Bowl champion, which I guess in July most people delude themselves that they are. But the best thing they can do is get these kids on the field. I think Shedeur Sanders, if he shows it during this preseason, I'm fascinated to see if they give him a shot.
It's always tough because preseason is not NFL talent. And that sounds weird to say, but the majority of people you're going against aren't going to feel like the pressurized versions of the regular season. That being said, to Schefter's point, I don't think there's a world where these young guys can win the job. They can be given a job, they can be given the chance, but Joe Flacco is a consummate professional. When you see them in practice, there is a clear difference between the way Joe Flacco plays and operates and the rookies do. So to your question about what would it take for Shedeur or even Dylan Gabriel to be starters, it's them making the operation routine, them getting in and out of the huddle, knowing the defenses, understanding the checks, knowing everything that is going to be the same every play so that they can play fast. That's a tough thing to do for a rookie.
Chef, looking at the names at the bottom of the screen, put Deshaun Watson in a different category. He's out for the entire season. Obviously, there's a million other things going on with him. But you got Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, the 2 rookies. You got Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco, the 2 veterans, different stages of their career. No team has 4 quarterbacks.
There's a world in which they would keep 4 quarterbacks.
What world is that?
That the 2 rookies light it up and that the 2 veterans play well and they decide quarterbacks are currency and they hold on to 4. It's certainly not common.
Right.
I don't know the last team to carry 4 quarterbacks. But in speaking with the organization, there's a world in which they could decide to do it. It's not a likely world, but in the end, when you're making roster decisions, you're keeping your best players. Yeah. And quarterbacks are currency. And if they decide these 4 guys are worth it, then they could do it. Do I think it'll happen that way? Right. No, I think it'll be 3. But they're going to have discussions about whether it's worth carrying 4.
Okay, so that's one of the critical training camp questions. Here's another. I'm fascinated by what the stuff we start hearing, the stuff that the Schefties of the world start reporting for us out of Denver's training camp. Quarterbacks tend to take that big leap in their second season, right? The sophomore leap that we've seen from so many guys. We saw it from Patrick Mahomes. We saw it from Lamar Jackson. We've seen it from a lot of players. Bo Nix surprised a lot of people with how well he played last year. Schefter, I'm looking forward to hearing people say, especially with a great coach like Sean Payton, is Bo Nix ready to take another step? Because if he does, then the Chiefs' reign of dominance in the AFC West is in legitimate jeopardy.
Well, let me say this. He took a big leap in his first year.
Right.
So for him to take another big leap would put him in line with the top quarterbacks in the league and make him an MVP candidate. That's the kind of leap, if he takes that you're talking about. Now, here's what Denver has done during the offseason to help Bo Nix take that leap. They went out and signed Evan Ingram, the type of joker that Sean Payton is looking for at the tight end position. They drafted R.J. Harvey, the running back, in the second round. They signed J.K. Dobbins. Because he was still sitting out there in the free agent market and the value was too great to pass up. So they have added weapons to complement a quarterback who already surprised people in his rookie year, who's poised to make a jump in his second year. And Bo Nix has been everything that Sean Payton thought he would. And if he is that guy, like the tone around this team, we wouldn't even be talking about the Denver Broncos on July 22nd last year. They were irrelevant. He's made them relevant, and he's got a chance to do more than that this season.
I think Bo Nix had an incredible rookie season. When you talk about see the quarterback make the biggest jump in year two, I would say those are the elite quarterbacks that you see make a jump in year two. And It's kind of the first check mark to say, oh, this guy's in a whole different stratosphere. For Bo Nix and some of those moves, to me, I look at it more as mitigating a drop. Because if he adds to that, he would be in that category of players. And that's really tough for quarterbacks after a good rookie season because teams now have a whole year tape on you. I didn't know your tendencies coming in. I don't know what makes you feel safe. I don't know the way that your coach likes to design the offense for you. So it will be a lot harder for Bo Nix in year two than it was in year one.
But I think Schefter's point is important because he also has a very good offensive line. They're going to have an impressive rushing attack, and that defense is outstanding. And so I think they're going to give him short fields. They're going to give him low scores. They're still not going to be asking him. If he does become a superstar, then we're looking at a Super Bowl contender. But they're not going to be asking him to be a superstar, and they'll be a Super Bowl contender with him being good, not being great.
If the stuff we start hearing coming out of their training camp is, oh my God, I can't believe how good Bo Nix is now with a full off season, all the rest of that stuff.
They're already, Greeny, I'm telling you that already before camp begins. They're already saying that.
Okay, well, in that case, the Broncos are a legitimate threat to Kansas City and everybody else when we think about the big boys in the AFC.
Hello, xin chào tất cả mọi người. Hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn gấp một hình ngôi sao màu xanh như thế này nhá. Bây giờ các bạn vào đọc của mình luôn nhé. Rồi, ok. Để bắt đầu vào làm thì các bạn sẽ chuẩn bị cho mình những dụng cụ như sau. Ở đây mình có chuẩn bị một tờ giấy A4 màu xanh nước biển này. Tiếp theo các bạn sẽ chuẩn bị cho mình một cái bút chì, một cây kéo, một cái thước, cuối cùng là một cây súng bắn keo như thế này nhá. Đó, các bạn sẽ chuẩn bị cho mình các cái dụng cụ như vậy nhé. Bây giờ mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn vào làm này. Đầu tiên các bạn sẽ gấp đôi tờ giấy A4 này vào cho mình. Rồi bây giờ mình sẽ cắt cái tờ giấy này ra nhé. Các bạn sẽ cắt đôi nó theo chiều dọc cái hình này cho mình nhé. giờ các bạn sẽ gấp đôi vào tiếp cho mình này. Bây giờ mình sẽ cắt đôi nó ra tiếp nhé. Mình sẽ dùng cái dao này để mình cắt nó này. Rồi, ok, tiếp theo bây giờ các bạn tiếp tục gấp đôi tờ giấy này vào cho mình nha. Rồi bây giờ mình sẽ dùng cái dao này để mình cắt ra tiếp này. Rồi sau khi cắt xong bây giờ các bạn sẽ dán hai cái này vào với nhau cho mình.